and welcome back to the Zendesk Morning Show. Although we have gone through a few days of mixed weather, similar to the emotions you might be feeling about the continued uncertainty of COVID-19 and the lockdown, we want your day to be uplifting. So we're going to do just that by focusing on empathy in today's episode. Empathy is at the heart of everything we do at Zendesk. We want to share with you the programs and initiatives we have taken to cultivate an empathetic environment for our employees, enabling them to share that empathy with others. We have no doubt you are doing some great things across your organizations today. Hopefully, this will help broaden your scope and thinking, and for those that are not able to implement new programs, maybe it's how you can apply a more empathetic approach to your day-to-day routine and outreach. In today's episode, we'll be sharing 3 stories of how to embed empathy into your organization, teams, and community. To help us get started, let's hear from Rosanna Machado on her advice to add empathy into your day.
Thanks, Pralini. I'm Rosanna Machado. I'm a coach and a mentor, and I work with executives and teams with a particular focus on building your influence through emotional intelligence. I think empathy is so important right now because we're living in a world of uncertainty and everyone's been affected in some way by the pandemic. By practicing empathy, we can break down barriers, we can connect with people on a human level, and we can demonstrate that we understand that they might be going through a tough time right now. By showing a bit of patience when we're queuing in the supermarket, signals to the staff that we understand the pressures that they're under. For employees in customer-facing businesses, I think the biggest change in recent years has been the number of tools available for them to connect with their customers. It's all about choosing the right tool based on what you're communicating and who you're communicating with to get the best result. On the flip side, when we're the customer dealing with call centre staff or retailers, there are a number of things that we can do to be more empathic. First of all, check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Are there any coping mechanisms that you can use to manage your own emotions? Ask someone how they are and be present and really care about the response that they give you. Actively listen during any exchange and pick up on other cues, verbal cues, tone of voice, body language, to understand how someone's really feeling. Be prepared to adapt your behaviour based on what you hear. And most of all, be kind and treat everyone you meet with respect. In a world of uncertainty, compassion can go a really long way. These are challenging times for all of us, but if we can show empathy, we can really connect with people in a meaningful way and ultimately get better outcomes. Back to you, Pralini.
Thank you, Rosanna. Very sound and great advice. I'm one of those people that avoid speaking to a call centre or support centre at all costs. I'd rather use knowledge-based articles, live chat, WhatsApp, email, Facebook, or Twitter before I pick up the phone. I even go so far as to undertake the security check and then plead with my husband to take over the call. However, during COVID-19, I find myself not avoiding calls as much, as I'm curious to how the support centre staff are doing. And I'm now taking the time to get to know the person on the other end, to really care about their day and how they are feeling. I'd encourage you all to take the time to show that you care when you're speaking to not only support staff, but your colleagues, especially during these challenging times. We are now going to pivot to hear about Zendesk's Empathy Lab and some initiatives Zendesk has undertaken in our support centres to help our employees. These include Noontime DJ Hour and the music hall called BeatSense. So let's hear from one of my favourite people at Zendesk, someone that oozes empathy in every interaction she has, our VP of Public Policy and Social Impact, Tiffany. Joining Tiffany will be Ed from our Social Impact team in Dublin. Welcome, Ed and Tiffany.
Hi everyone, my name is Ed and I am the Social Impact Manager who looks after the Dublin, Copenhagen and Krakow offices. I joined the Zendesk team in March, and one of the projects that I was really interested in when joining the team was the Empathy Lab. Today, I am delighted to talk to our VP of Public Policy and Social Impact, Tiffany Opchinsky, about this initiative. So, Tiffany, can you tell us what is the Empathy Lab and why is it important?
Yes, the Empathy Lab is a concept that we created last year. And the impetus for it was we were noticing for the past few years that tech was becoming a real polarizing force. And if you looked at trends that, consumer trends and employer trends, you were seeing across the board that more and more tech was becoming more of a polarizing factor in their lives rather than a galvanizing factor, which I really think is meant to be the aim of technology. And so we wanted to dig into that. We were also reading many reports that showed more and more empathy was lacking, especially among college students. And for us, being in customer service, empathy is so critical to how we are able to help our customers via technology. So the Empathy Lab is a way for us to really dig into it, think about it more deeply, and hopefully produce some solutions as a result.
Absolutely. And can you tell me, how did you do this research?
We partnered with a really wonderful design research firm. They're world-renowned. They're called IDEO. And they came to our offices in Madison, actually, which is one of our support hubs. And they spent about 2 weeks talking with and thinking through some of the problems our advocates there were facing around just how you scale culture when the company grows and you're across floors and the ticket queues are getting longer and the technology is getting more sophisticated. And I know we're going to be teasing the segment that digs into our partnership with IDEO at our Relator event that happened in March. I won't go too into the details now, but it was a really wonderful relationship. And I think our advocates felt really heard as a result. And I think that the solutions that IDEO put forward were incredibly innovative, all the while being really able to implement. So I hope anyone who watches this really goes into that segment, sees what we have to offer. We have a number of virtual solutions to accommodate what's happening right now with all of our work from home situations. But we're really excited about it, and we look forward to continuing that partnership.
Absolutely. And you've identified some really interesting ways to increase empathy. Are there any that are particularly relevant during this time, especially with many customer service workers now adjusting to working remotely?
Yeah, I think like what's most important right now is over communicating to your support teams just how important they are and really noting the good work that they are doing. And that can happen in Slack channels where you're highlighting milestones, you're highlighting employees who have done a great job. You can create digests that just summarize all of the moments of success in a work week, because we have to be so mindful right now that in this era of COVID-19, our support teams across the globe are completely overwhelmed with ticket queues they have never had to tackle. They're working day in and day out with customers who are in crisis. And now is the time to empower them to be creative with the solutions that they can offer customers. And we want our support agents to be more empathetic than ever. They have to be. But with that, that means they're going to deplete the well that they have to give that empathy. So it's really important as a company that you're recognizing the work of these frontline employees who are really in the trenches with your customers. It's important that as a manager, you're finding creative ways to give them the space to be able to bond with their teammates. At Zendesk, we have a noontime DJ hour that we have employees rotate through to host. Very easy to do. We also have a music room that's been created for our employees called Beat Sense. And it's a real passive way that you can listen to the music that your employees are suggesting, vote it up, vote it down, put your own comments in there. But we all have to really come together right now and understand that this part of your organization is the heartbeat right now. And so we kind of have to wrap our arms around it and make sure we're over communicating how important their work is and how much we appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really interesting to hear about the different ways that we can approach the design of a call center team. Of course, we're just scratching the surface here, but you share much more detail in your Relator session that is now available on demand. So let's pass it back over to Perlini, who is going to tell us more.
Thank you, Tiffany and Ed. Great ideas and great initiatives. If you'd like to learn more about the work we have done at IDEO, visit and watch Zendesk Relator. Empathy at Zendesk is not limited to our support centres. It is in every corner of our organisation, across every team, every office, and in every city. In our next segment, I am delighted to have a colleague who inspires me daily with the empathy she has, not only for her teammates and colleagues, but the community. Let's hear from one of our Zendesk heroes, Laura Grasick, on her CSR journey.
I'm Laura Grasick, a Sales Operations Manager here at Zendesk, and I'm also part of our Social Impact Committee and hugely passionate around the value of volunteering. For some background, I'd been actively trying to volunteer since I'd moved to London, but I'd really struggled to find an opportunity that wasn't during the working day. Then, 2 years ago, I joined Zendesk and learned about the numerous social impact causes which Zendesk supports. In the past couple of years, with Zendesk's encouragement to take time out of my working day, I've helped serve meals for those in the homeless community. I've mentored interns, and I've helped pack treats for those on the intensive care ward at our local hospital. However, these have been far more than opportunities to try and give back to our wonderful local community. They've helped me grow so much and have taught me an awful lot. Firstly, the importance of teamwork and the power of tackling activities as a group. I've got to meet colleagues from other teams, and by working together, it's incredible to see what you can achieve in such a short period of time. Volunteering has also pushed me out of my comfort zone. Speaking to a group of ambitious 16-year-olds was far more nerve-wracking than I anticipated, but by the end, they had inspired me in ways I really didn't expect. That said, the most important relationship to me that Zendesk fostered was that with Good Gym, an organisation that combines exercise with doing good. So along my runs, I've supported those who are elderly and isolated in doing tasks they can no longer complete themselves, be it changing a light bulb, clearing their garden, or moving furniture. Each task might seem small, but the impact is really quite huge. I'm also paired with a lovely lady who I used to visit each week for a cup of tea and a catch-up. In recent times, this has now moved to a phone call, but the premise of Good Gym has really remained consistent in that combating loneliness is just so important. So being able to support an organisation whose work is so relevant in today's climate means an awful lot to me. Add in the fact that Zendesk is wholeheartedly behind what I do, both during and out of work hours, is just so humbling. Human contact now, more than ever, is so critical, so I am forever grateful for the relationship that Zendesk has encouraged, promoted, and supported me to build.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you for the support you provide day in and day out, both at Zendesk and in the wider community. Our employees continue to go above and beyond. A Zendesk employee and co-founder of Makers United, Emanuele, is going to share his story of what they are doing to help hospitals with PPE equipment. I am pleased to invite our Senior PR Manager for the South Region, Maria Di Martino, to speak with Emanuele.
Thanks, Prolini. I am Maria Di Martino, Senior PR Manager for South of Europe at Zendesk. One of the most inspiring outcomes of this challenging period of time is to see how empathy and caring for each other is leading to new creativity and innovation. Today, we are sharing one such example. I am here with Emanuele Sparaca, the co-founder of Makers United and also Senior Incident Manager at Zendesk. Emanuele is going to tell us about a great initiative that he has developed to support hospitals with PPE during this COVID-19 pandemic through the use of 3D printing. Hi, Emanuele, and welcome.
Hi, Maria.
So, Emanuele, tell us what Makers United is and where the idea came from.
Well, the idea came up seeing the need for personal protection equipment in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. We developed a plan to bring together makers volunteering with 3D printing equipment and hospitals or healthcare centers in need of more PPE in their area.
Can you give us a little bit of details around how everything works?
Sure. Makers are able to use their 3D printing equipment and materials to build face shields, masks or mask clips for healthcare workers, and then offer those to hospitals for free. Currently, more than 5,000 makers signed up through the COVID-19 and Makers United Facebook social community. By connecting hospitals and healthcare centers with local makers, Makers United is also able to limit cost of shipping as well as minimize any delays in shipping due to border checks or closures.
And so can you tell us how Makers United is using Zendesk?
Sure, it was clear since the beginning that Zendesk was the best and quickest solution to easily relate those two different communities at a global level. Thanks to the help of Tech for Good, Makers United, the platform was up in 1 week, collecting requests from hospitals and forwarding them to local makers. We are also using Zendesk Guide and Gather to share our products, discuss new ones, and bring the community together to answer questions from both hospital and makers.
And so how many hospitals have you been able to support so far?
So far, we had a tragedy tent camp in Rosanna and workers in south of France, but also hospitals in Aguascalientes, Mexico, hospitals in New York and in San Jose, and the Hospital for Sick Children in Canada, and we managed also to help a community of makers in Tanzania, and we are already engaging with Brazil and Zimbabwe with the help of a WHO representative.
Can we tell our listeners how they can help, and also people generally, how they can get involved and request support?
Sure. Any hospital or healthcare center in need of support for PPE can reach out to be connected to local makers. The website is makers-united.org. Makers can also sign up to help, and anyone can join our site and help us funding the GoFundMe campaign to purchase filaments.
Thank you, Emanuele. That's a fantastic initiative. Well done.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Emanuele. Emanuele, it's exceptional work you are doing to bring together makers of PPE equipment and hospitals. Thank you from all of us. To learn more about any of the content today, visit our Zendesk blog, Morning Show homepage, or check out Zendesk Relator. I hope you found today's session uplifting and inspiring. There is so much you can be doing to help your teams, customers, and community. It can be a simple gesture of asking someone how they are doing, to setting up a work environment that fosters empathy for your employees, or volunteering like Laura and Emanuele. Empathy is all around us. So today, I want you to do something empathetic in the universe, whatever that may be. In Thursday's episode, we'll be covering scaling support through a community approach. Until then, I hope you have a great and empathetic day.